On example 2 for cylinders, it says a cylinder is shown to the right. Draw a net of the cylinder, label each 2D shape on the net with the correct measurements, then find the surface area of the cylinder. Give your answer in both forms, the exact answer in terms of pi, and rounded or estimated surface area to the nearest hundredth. So here is my cylinder. In this case, my lateral surface area comes here, and I have one circle here. Maybe I have another circle here. I just need a circle on either side. These are my two circular bases. And my radius, excuse me, is 15 meters. So I'm going to label that 15 meters here, my radius. The length from one circle base to the other, from one side to the other here, is 58 meters. And so now I just have to, I've drawn the net, I've labeled it with the measurements that I need. If you'd like, you can label this radius 15 meters as well. And then we have to find the surface area for this shape. So this first circle is pi r squared, which in this case is pi times 15 squared. 15 to the second power is 225 pi meters squared. That's the area of this circle here. Now we know that because this circle is 225 pi, that this one is also 225 pi. So meters squared. And then the last thing that we have to find is this, what we call the lateral surface area, or the lateral area on the cylinder, length times width. We know that right here the width here is 58 meters, and the length of this is the length of circumference. So circumference is 2 pi r. In this case, that's 2 times pi times 15, and 2 times 15 is 30 pi. So now, so that's this side right here is just 30 pi meters. 30 pi times 58, we've got 30 pi times 58 for our area. I'm going to do my whole numbers. 30 times 58. When I do that, I get 1,740 pi meters squared. So there's the area of my rectangle, area of my circle, area of my other circle base. And in order to find surface area, I add them all up. 225 pi, 225 pi, and 1,740 pi. Add them all together. And I get 2,190 pi. And then that's my exact 2,190 pi. My label here is meters squared. When I estimate that answer, I can plug in my calculator times pi, and I'm getting, from my calculator, 6,880.08791. The 8 is in my hundredths place. It looks at my 7. My 7 tells it to round up, and so my estimated surface area is 6,880 and 9 hundredths meters squared. So again, you can draw a net every time, but you also have the ability, the option to recall the surface area formula. Surface area of a cylinder is 2 pi r squared. This represents the two circles, pi r squared, there are times 2 here, plus, then you've always got the height of the cylinder, which when we say height, we're talking about the length from one base to the other, not necessarily how tall it is. If we were going to stand it on a circle base, how tall would it be? That's the height we're talking about in this formula. Times our circumference, which our circumference formula is 2 pi r. And then we always multiply that again by the height. When we talk about height, we're talking about the length from one base to the other. And this part of the formula represents our two circles. This part of our formula represents what we call lateral area. So in this last example, we're asked to find the area of the label of the juice can. Notice that the label does not go on the top metal part or the bottom of that can. It's only going around what we consider to be the lateral surface area. So if we draw the net, we've got two circle bases. They have a diameter of 4 inches, which means the radius is 2 inches. Half of that is the radius. The height, length from one base to another is 7 inches. So here's my labeling on my net. But what we're trying to find is just the area of the label. The label does not go on the bases. So in this case, the length of this rectangle, we've got 7 times, this is circumference, 2 pi r, which in this case equals 2 pi times 2, which is equal to 4 pi. So 7 times 4 pi is 28 pi inches squared. That's our area. That's the exact surface area in terms of pi, 28 pi inches squared. The estimated surface area, if I punch in 28 times pi into my calculator, remember that you can't always use 3.14 as an estimate if you don't have the pi button on your calculator. Just make sure that you show your work and show that you're using 3.14 in your work instead of pi. And when I do that, we're rounding to the nearest, we've been rounding to the nearest hundredth in this foldable, so let's continue that. 6 is in my hundredths place. The 4 tells my 6 to stay the same, and I get 87 and 96 hundredths inches squared for the area of my label. And so that is, when we're talking about the label, we're talking about the lateral surface area. If we look at our surface area formula, 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi rh, essentially we're just using this part of the formula, 2 pi times the radius times h, to get our lateral surface area, or the surface area of that label on that Minute Maid lemonade can.